Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Frayne. We are back with another video, again talking about SUI and can SUI actually get to $50 in this cycle? Is that a realistic price target? That's what we're going to break down in today's video. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, hit that subscribe button as well, smash the bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's linked down below the video. Grab it now, 100% free, and let's talk about SUI. So SUI has been pulling back a little bit over the past couple of weeks. Really since these start of January highs, we haven't seen SUI make any progress in terms of getting up to new all-time highs. We had SUI getting all the way up to those prices of $5 and around 35 cents back at the beginning of January. And then we had this big breakdown. Obviously, Bitcoin had pulled back during periods of late January into February as well, and SUI has pulled back as a result of all of that too. So we're sitting here at about $3.44 with the price of SUI here at the very end of February. And again, I do still have a lot of positive sentiment and a lot of positive outlook personally, again, not financial advice, guys, but for where SUI can go in terms of price during this cycle. We're going to be looking at price action in a moment in terms of price predictions, but we are still sitting nicely above the 200-day simple moving average. If we zoom out even further here, SUI had a phenomenal run over the course of the past 6 to 8 months. If we go all the way back here to the 5th of August of last year, we had a big leg up here from August 5th all the way through middle of October, SUI increasing by 350% before we had this particular cool off here with price consolidating downwards here and then moving with a much bigger move to the upside. We had another, on a percentage basis, let's see it over the next 2 months, 2.5 months, another 200% increase in the price of SUI, going all the way to about $5.35 over the subsequent 2 to 3 months. Again, consolidating and moving back to the downside with the alt market pulling back, with Bitcoin still hovering below $100,000. It is nice to see that the 200-day simple moving average has held, even with this large wick down here on the 3rd of February. We're sitting nicely above it. We've been moving back to the upside over the course of the past few days. And if we look at this, let's say from a charting perspective and think about the downtrend that we've been in, you know, you could be arguing that we're about to roll up out of this downtrend. Again, I would want to see a little bit more positive price action in order for us to get truly above the kind of $360 level of resistance. I'd like to see us getting above that, but it is looking like this $2.98 level just under the $3 mark is holding as nice support. We've been ranging in this particular channel since the 7th of February, actually since the 4th or 5th of February when we came into it first. I would want to see us getting back above this to indicate to me we're going to continue to move higher. So again, lots of positive sentiment around SUI. I wanted to compare SUI a little bit to Solana from the previous cycle. If we bring up a couple of other key charts here, we can look at SUI dominance before we look at Sol dominance actually. And I want to just draw the comparison between SUI dominance today and Sol dominance from the last cycle back in 2021. So obviously, as SUI has been making amazing moves over the past 6 to 9 months, we've seen its dominance increasing exponentially over that time period as well. We had dominance levels as low as 0.07% here back in August of last year when we had the unwind of the Japanese yen carry trade. SUI's dominance went as low as 0.07%, but over the following months, we went up as high as about 0.49% or about 0.5%. SUI was making up essentially 0.5% of the entire crypto market cap. Yes, we've retraced with that dominance level again, but a very similar chart pattern here to what we're seeing on the price action chart with SUI dominance. I do think we can see SUI continue to move up and to the right. And if you've seen my price target videos on the channel before, guys, you know I'm targeting something in this area around 1 to 1.5% for where the dominance of SUI could land in this particular cycle by the time it reaches its peak. So what does that look like compared to Solana from the previous cycle? Because SUI does remind me and many others of what Solana was doing in terms of innovation in the layer 1 space, this time back all the way in 2020 and 2021. So I'm going to zoom out here and put us on the weekly chart. And if we go all the way back to the previous cycle, we can see that Solana dominance actually peaked out at around 2.88% here at the peak of the cycle when Sol got up to these prices around the middle to end of November in 2021. But if we zoom back out here and we look at what that dominance was doing over the course of 2021, this was when Solana's price action really started to take off as we had larger amounts of Sol entering circulation, but there was huge amounts of buying pressure for Solana back in this first quarter of 2021. So we can see by the time we got into February, Solana dominance was still actually sitting at about 0.2%. You can see by the time we were at the end of February moving into March, we were still hovering around this 0.2 to 0.3% dominance level for Solana's dominance. And again, over the subsequent number of months, it had another huge leg up here, essentially going from about 0.22% dominance all the way up to about 0.75 in the space of just a couple of months. So could SUI do something similar later this year when we see price action really start to move higher, when Bitcoin gets back above 100K and the market starts moving higher? We could be in for seeing SUI dominance making some parabolic moves. And if I remove this particular graph on the chart here, you can see that we had a big period of consolidation here all throughout summer, basically going right through until August of 2021. And that's when Solana had the next big leg up in terms of its dominance as we moved into September and into Q4 of 2021. So huge increases in dominance for Solana over the course of 2021. And I don't think SUI will get up to these same types of dominance levels, but it is worth thinking about what would happen if we did see SUI getting up to these 2.85 or 88% dominance levels, similar to what Solana did in the previous cycle. So again, jumping back over to the most recent price prediction I dropped for SUI on the channel, you can see that in a bear case, I was looking at roughly a 0.8% dominance, in a base case about 1% dominance, and in a bull case about 1.25% dominance for where SUI could get to in terms of its market dominance. But let's just zoom out even further. Let's think about best possible case scenario. Maybe SUI gets to a dominance level in this cycle similar to what Solana got to back in 2021. Again, if SUI can really be the number one layer one kind of innovator and disruptor in the blockchain space this cycle, it's definitely not off the cards that it could be getting up to these kind of dominance levels around 2.88%. So let's see what that would mean for price action if SUI was to do something just like that. Well, in a scenario where we take our base case total crypto market cap around 7 trillion, and if SUI got up to a dominance level that Solana got to at the peak of the previous cycle around 2.88%, that would actually give us a $200 billion market cap for SUI, and dividing that by 3.6 billion SUI tokens would actually give us a price target of $56 for SUI in a scenario where it achieves the same dominance level as Solana from the previous cycle and total crypto market cap gets up to around 7 trillion US dollars. But let's take it one step further, because as you know, in our bull case, I do think we could land closer to 8 or even 9 trillion dollars in terms of overall crypto market cap. And in that particular scenario, if SUI got all the way up to that 2.88% dominance level, once again, in a market cap that goes to 9 trillion, that could give us a market cap as high as $259 billion for SUI by the peak of the cycle. And again, dividing it by 3.6 billion tokens would actually give us a $72 price target for SUI by the peak of the cycle. I know those numbers sound crazy, but it is fathomable, at least, to think that SUI could achieve something similar to what Solana did in the previous cycle. Is it extremely likely? No, I don't think so. But let yourself think about that perspective on how SUI compares to Solana from the previous cycle, and maybe, just maybe, it could be achieving something in the realm of $50 to $70 in terms of price prediction for SUI by the peak of the cycle. Again, let's not remember, we had other tokens in the previous cycle, just like Cardano, ADA. Cardano went to pretty much a $100 billion market cap at the peak of the last cycle. And during the peak of the last cycle, the entire crypto market cap only went, I say only, but the entire crypto market cap went to 2.9 trillion. So you had a token like Cardano getting to 100 billion in a total crypto market cap that peaked at 2.9 trillion. So thinking that SUI could go to over 200 billion in a market cap that's going to be 3 times as large, potentially 8 to 9 trillion US dollars, is definitely not unfathomable and something that you should consider as a real possibility. So that's it for today's video, guys. I wanted to break it down in terms of could SUI potentially even get close to that $50 price target. As we can see, it's something that is very possible. Maybe it's not very likely, but if you think about the stars aligning, if you think about total crypto market cap getting up to that $8 to $9 trillion level, and if SUI can achieve dominance levels similar to what Sol did in the last cycle, we could be in for a very high market cap and a very high price per token as a result. So let me know, guys, what do you think about this? Do you want me to do an updated price prediction for a bear case, base case, and bull case for SUI? Drop me a comment below if you want to see an updated video for where I think the realistic targets are for bear, base, and bull case when it comes to the SUI token by the peak of this particular cycle. Drop me a comment, let me know. If you're leaving, please drop a thumbs up on the video below just before you leave. If you got any value out of the video at all, smash that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, smash the bell notification icon. And like I said at the beginning of the video, don't forget to grab your completely free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's linked below the video in the description. Grab it now and we'll catch you in the next one.